Namaste, hello and welcome to NCERT's special live phone-in program. It's a webinar on ICT tool. But for this week particularly, we are going to talk to experts from CDAC. What is CDAC? CDAC stands for Center for Development of Advanced Computing. And there'll be experts, and today we have two of them. They'll be talking about learning chemistry through online labs. Online labs, we also call it Olaps. So if you are chemistry students, you have interest in chemistry, you are particular about learning metals, non-metals and a lot of things. So join us and watch this session on our YouTube channel NCERT Official. In the live chat box, you can write down your questions and send it to us. We'll be taking the questions in the last 10 minutes of this particular session, and we are here till 5 o'clock. So there's ample of time for you to share your queries, and along with that, you can also email your queries on our email ID training@ciet.nic.in. I repeat, it's training@ciet.nic.in. You can also see the email ID written on your screens, and you can even call us on our toll-free number, which is 8800-440-559. I hope you have noted it down pretty carefully. We'll keep on repeating these mediums through which you can contact us, through which you can reach us, so don't worry about that. And let's meet our expert who will be explaining the whole concept of learning chemistry through Olaps. So she is Miss Archana Rane. Welcome, ma'am.
Hi, everyone.
Ma'am.
So I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, ma'am, you're visible and you're audible. Let me just introduce you a little bit to our audience.
Sure.
Ma'am is the Joint Director of CDAC Mumbai. And let's begin with this whole concept of learning chemistry. So I would like to ask ma'am, could you show us, our students, our viewers, some presentation and like explain us that how exactly can we learn chemistry through the online labs?
Sure. So what I'll be doing is that this particular presentation, we'll be doing it in two parts. First, we'll give you an overview of Olaps, online labs. What is it all about, the motivation behind it, and the various components of labs. What is an OLAB, how you can use it, okay. And then we will, the next part of the presentation of this session will be a demonstration where we'll walk you through some of the chemistry labs. So welcome all of you. I'll just start the Olaps presentation. It's me, Archana Rane, and Suman, my colleague, who will be walking you through this session. So Olaps, this project is online labs. It's Olap stands for Online Labs for School Experiments. So as the name suggests, it is actually for schools. And it has been developed by CDAC Mumbai and Amrita Vishwa Vidyapeetham Kerala under a research grant by Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. And more importantly, who is the target audience for this particular system? This is all CBSE schools, students, teachers who can make use of Olaps. I'll be coming in a while about what are the things that we'll be covering in. We have covered in Olaps, so that you can get to know what may be useful to you. I believe there may be some teachers who may have joined this session, or there may be some students, or I believe even some parents might have joined, or even some other people who may be interested to know about Olaps. So in Olaps, we are covering science, all the three subjects in science, mathematics and English, and particularly the labs at this stage are covered for class 9th, 10th, 11th and 12th. So what was the motivation behind Olaps? As we all know that even in educational research, it has been reiterated that the students need to have practical skills to understand, particularly for scientific phenomenon. And laboratory has been there since years. We are using science labs, and students are actually verifying, testing the phenomena that they are studying in the class in these laboratories. So generally, a laboratory, when we talk about a laboratory, a science laboratory comes in our mind. But note that there are other subjects as well for which there are kind of activities wherein you can do practical verification of, say for example, in mathematics, you can have verification of certain theorems. There are activities defined for that. So we are talking about all of that. Now, the challenge that our school education, that is particularly in India, is that we have a lack of there is a lack of infrastructure, including labs. So, in many schools, even in urban schools, there may be kind of the infrastructure may not be adequate, and if at all it is adequate, there may not be possible to give access to. It is not possible to give access to all the students for how much for other than just limited access. And then for using those equipments, you also need trained teachers for various subjects, which may again there may be a shortage of that. And because of all these things, limited lab access and lack of infrastructure, students actually come out with little practical knowledge, and schools actually have to deal with it, mainly because of the infrastructure constraints that are there. So why have we come up with a concept like Olaps? Because of the problems that we can see with physical labs, that is limited infrastructure, or lab, maybe minimal lab session, maybe in some cases there may not be any lab sessions. During our training programs, when we visited some remote areas, we actually found that in those schools there is no lab, or there are very few equipments which are there, limited equipments which are shared between a large group of students. And of course, even though we have a lab, you cannot give unlimited access to the students because of safety constraints. And there may be also some fragile, expensive equipments which are there in the labs. Particularly today, we are talking about chemistry. In chemistry, we know that safety constraints are there, and there may be some fragile equipments as well involved. And so what is happening is, generally when the students go for doing a lab, the student you can see that because of the limited access, the students generally just complete what is given to them as a quick cookbook recipe. And they just complete what is given there, follow the steps 1, 2, 3, 4, and they complete the lab activity, exploring other aspects related to the concept. Because of limited time, they are not able to do that. And so that leads to inadequate higher order thinking skills, though they have a practical component in the classroom. And assessments of experiments, of course, is difficult because of the above mentioned constraints, lack of quality teachers. I already mentioned about it. So that's where we position OLabs, online labs. Let me make it very clear that OLabs is not meant, nor can it ever replace physical labs. So this is kind of something which we want to reiterate, that it is not aimed to replace physical labs. Physical labs, the experience cannot be substituted by any kind of software, any state-of-the-art technology. But the intention here is to augment and amplify the physical labs, so that students who do not have access to labs or have very limited access to labs can use this, and this can be used to kind of supplement the labs. So virtual labs are, we can say that, address or aim to address the deficiencies of the physical labs which we just talked about. It provides, of course, the ease and convenience of conducting the experiments over the internet at some places like Olabs. When we initially developed it, it was available over the internet. Now we also have an offline version of it. So need not worry if you don't have internet access, you can still access Olaps. And it's aimed to bridge the constraints of geographical distances and time, particularly now in this pandemic situation. students are sitting at their homes, confined in lockdowns, but still they have access to their labs. They have not visited their school for more than 1 year now, but with the softwares like Olaps, they can still continue the practical work, or they can access the labs fit. And apart from addressing the physical lab constraints, when you bring in technology, it can actually, potentially, it can expand the boundaries of a physical lab in several ways. And what are those several ways? Actually, you can see that events which are occurring in a very large time or a small time, like for example, here the example is given of cycle of a mosquito. Consider the process of photosynthesis, or consider change of seasons, which require actually a long time, and it involves multiple things. You can't even see some of the things which are not visible to our eye. But with technology, it is possible to simulate that sitting in one particular.
Okay, like she's explaining, technology can expand the boundaries of a physical lab. The physical labs are different than online labs, and we can learn different subjects through OLabs, the way she is explaining. And CDAC has institutes where you can join and learn various subjects through online labs. This now that the COVID-19 is happening throughout the world, and people are shifting from offline to online, and everything is possible, and this is also possible. So let's hear her once again and hear the explanation. Ma'am.
Yeah. So, as I was just mentioning, that technology can expand the boundaries of a physical lab. So, things which are impossible to perform in real lab. So, what we can do is that we can actually see behavior of certain objects in an atmosphere outside Earth. Like, for example, a simple pendulum's behavior. How does it oscillate if you take it to atmosphere of Jupiter? So all this offers tremendous scope. Technology offers tremendous scope, and even you can. There is a potential for self-paced learning that can happen using labs. So depending on my profile, I can actually explore other stuff or whichever stuff I'm interested in, while my other colleague can actually follow the other kind of access to the lab. So what do we have in OLabs? When I'm talking about OLabs, how many labs are available? As of now, we have 173 labs which are there, and these labs are done in in this 5 different subjects, actually science, mathematics, and English. So science, we are covering 54, 46, and 36. In chemistry, we are covering about 46 labs. I'll just give you a quick overview of which are the labs that we are covering in chemistry, as well. As you see that all of these subjects, there are various aspects that are covered in the labs, and the labs are designed accordingly, according to the subject, according to the pedagogical requirement of each and every subject and that particular lab. So mathematics, you may be wondering what is a lab, mathematics lab. So if you are a CBSE student or a teacher or a school, you may be knowing that in mathematics you do have activities, or you do have lab activities. So this 25 labs are covering that. In English, we have actually prepared some interactive activities. Again, practical usage is our focus in OLabs. So practical usage of grammatical constructs, which are generally the students get confused with. We have done this. And OLabs is available for classes. I have already mentioned these classes from 9 to 12. And it is available in these languages. So it is not that we are covering these languages. The interface is available in these languages. So all the instructions, everything related to the lab is available in these languages. That is, apart from English, we have Hindi, Malayalam, and Marathi. So potentially even state boards which are having regional medium schools in these languages can use Olaps. And this is Olap's website, that is olaps.edu.in. So what are the salient features of Olaps? Suman will be just in a while, she'll be showing you our Olap's website and she'll be walking you through various labs. So actually it's a collection of interactive simulations where we are trying to simulate real world behavior. That is real world behavior, what would happen in a physical lab. And since it has stemmed from the issue of physical labs constraints. OLabs, since it is completely online, students can explore the lab as much as time they want. They can conduct the lab as many times as they want. They can repeat at their own pace. So it is not that there is a restricted time that is given to the students. They can do it any number of times. Then, depending on the lab requirement, each lab includes various features such as recording observations, plotting graphs, calculations, etc. This is all going to enhance the overall experience of the students. And very important part, which makes OLAPS kind of it's a USP of OLAPS, that is all the experiments and activities are aligned to CBSE curriculum. Okay, so we have used actually NCERT lab manuals and we have designed it according to it. And you don't have to pay anything for purchasing OLAPS. OLAPS is available completely free. Now also you can go and access olaps.edu.in. And as I mentioned that if you are constrained with internet usage, I believe many of the urban schools also have internet constraints that they have. And nowadays it's like most of the students are at home, even teachers are at home. And if you don't have internet access, you can have offline version running on your own desktop. Okay? So offline version is also available. Live DVD and Windows installer are available on request. Now it is also available on the OLAPS website. So now when I say OLAPS, what does it mean? OLAPS, does it mean a video? Does it mean an animation? Does it mean a simulation? What does it mean? So OLAPS is actually a comprehensive learning experience consisting of all the related information related to that particular lab. Say for example, I take an experiment, bell jar experiment. Okay, so when I open the lab related to a bell jar, that is a OLAP related to bell jar, what do I get? I get a theory component which has all the conceptual background related to that particular experiment.
Okay. Like you can see on your screens, the contents of a lab, there's theory, there's procedure, and there's simulation, there's animation, and there are a lot of things. So as you can see in the presentation, there's even Viva Voice, and it's going to be interesting. Like theory will include conceptual background of the experiment, concepts, related laws, proofs, and even principles. And procedure would get you detailed steps for conducting the experiment in the online and actual lab environment. So procedure is very important here, like it says the actual lab environment. Obviously the experience of a physical lab is very different than the online lab, but everything is transferable, and it will be equally effective, it will be equally helpful, and you'll be learning as much as you can learn in the physical lab. When we talk about animation, for teachers, demonstration of the experiment in the class or in the laboratory. Simulation will be a simulated laboratory environment with necessary apparatus to conduct the experiment online. And experiments, if they'll be conducted online, you can understand, and it'll be perfectly well. The experiments are for all the classes, for 9th to 12th, for physically, they are physically available for 9th to 12th, but otherwise it's online available as well. Is there any plan to extend further for more classes? This will be explained by our expert. She's going to come back very soon here. There's some technical error we are facing, and Olaps, they are even available in regional languages. In one of the slides at the right hand corner, there were 4 languages written: Hindi, English, Marathi, Telugu. So these languages are also available, and you can, if you don't understand English or Hindi, then these languages too will be useful. If we talk about the snippets from review report by NCERT, it's available on your screens. You can see there's chemistry, there's maths, there's biology, and there's English as well. There are so many subjects available. Let me just tell you that for this week, we are doing this webinar in collaboration with CDAC, where the experts from CDAC are here. They come to us and they conduct these sessions online, and they explain you different concepts. So our expert, Ms. Archana Rane, she's back, and she'll continue what she was talking about. Ma'am, over to you.
Yeah, so we are talking about this review report by NCERT. And then the next question, now that you know that it is an authenticated content which is reviewed and reviewed by NCERT, endorsed by CBSE, if at all you have Olaps, another thing that may come in your mind is how will you use it in your school, in your classroom? Nowadays, there are all online sessions, how you can use it. So minimally what you can do is you can use it for demonstration in the class. So you can prepare the students for the physical lab. Now schools have not yet opened, but I believe for higher classes students, the schools have reopened now. So there is physical, student have access to physical lab. So you can use Olaps to prepare students for physical lab. Or when you're there back from the physical lab, you can reflect on the activities performed in the lab. Okay, and something which we recommend strongly is active learning strategies. You can use if at all you have you are using Olaps in your online class or maybe in your physical class. You can also give it as a homework activity. Give them inquiry-based instruction sheet so that they can use that instruction sheet to conduct the activities. And encourage self-generated proposals. It takes around maybe 5 to 15 minutes. And what the student is supposed to do, or what the teacher can do, is that she can kind of orchestrate a learning activity around a Olap. So she can show animation or simulation. She can pause that animation and simulation. And when she has paused it, she can ask or encourage for some activity to the student. It can be either in the form of a predict outcome, that what will happen if I change the material of the bob that is hanging from the simple pendulum, or what if I change the atmosphere of the simple pendulum. So predict outcome, let the student predict it, and after that you play the simulation again. So here the student has given some kind of thought, and then you play it, then they see actually what happens, and then you can frame a discussion around it. It can also be calculate output or device explanation why this thing happened or how it is happening. So these are some of the active learning strategies which teachers can use. I think teachers are the best people to decide on what could be the strategies for using Olaps. So you can choose activities based on any kind of on the ways on the pedagogical purpose of that particular lab and the learning objective of the lab, and any kind of strategies which you are already using in the class, you can comfortably you can adapt it. So just to summarize, teachers, you can explain labs before performing the practical or the lab, explain a procedure, demonstrate something, demonstrate a phenomenon, set expectation about the lab. Before going to the lab, you can set the expectation, can frame review questions with the lab as the backdrop after the lab sessions. So as I said that many of you or relative teachers or even parents nowadays actually give instruction sheets to the students so they can come up with many more such innovative uses. If you have any, if you're already using some kind of strategy of using OLAPs, do let us know. We will also be very curious to know, and we will maybe propagate that and tell even other teachers in our training programs. And students, if teacher is not using or the school is not using, student can have their own version of OLAPs, or they can access OLAPs online, familiarize with the lab before physical lab session, try variations available in the lab, before the exam, do revision using the lab, use lab to reinforce some of the concepts that teacher or concepts related to that particular lab. So some of the important links which are there, you can access olaps.edu.in. We have a Facebook page on which we publicize the training sessions on OLAPs and any other updates related to OLAPs. OLAPs email address, in case you have any queries related to OLAPs, you have any feedback on OLAPs, any kind of concerns that you have, any changes you wish to have in OLAPs, you can please write to us. You can download the offline version that is also available on the website. If you're using OLAPs, in many of our training programs, teachers tell us that they are using OLAPs and they have been using it since a long time, and there is
Okay, like you can see, the important links are there on your screens. If we are doing everything online, then the online has various methods as well. Yes, ma'am.
yes. So, are you using OLAPs? Please do let us know on this. Our team will do a small verification and then we can do it. This is just to give you some information about the endorsements that OLAPs has received, just to give you an idea about that. Yes, it is authenticated content. It has been endorsed by CBSE and NCERT. So this was in way back in Feb 2013. This was a circular in 2016 related to training of teachers using on OLAPs. This was a recent circular in 2020 to conduct practical work during lockdown. And this was also following up the CBSE circulars. We had KVS and NVS also publishing circulars. This was our Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, Honorable Minister Shri Ravi Shankar Prasad, who actually did a launch of training using OLAPs on the Good Governance Day. So this is how OLAPs looks like. You may be curious to know how OLAPs looks like. This is the homepage of OLAPs. More to it in the demonstration. So you can see that there are the subjects which are there. You just have to click on them and you can move to various labs. So here you can see OLAPs physics. I have put a snapshot of a simulation of equivalent resistance of resistors. This lab, this is just a simulation part of it. You can see there are these equipments which look more like a real lab, and here you can see that there is this manipulation area or the workbench area where the student can choose the variants and play the lab. Olaps chemistry, I think we'll be seeing a complete demonstration on this lab today. It's chemical reactions, a classic experiment, classic lab in chemistry. So you can see that you can choose which reaction you want to test, and then there is this chemistry lab area wherein you can perform the actions one by one. The system itself will guide you to do that. This is a snapshot of biology. Here you can see that there is a microscope here, and based on some instructions, you have actually put a slide containing some plant tissue, and then you can examine it through the microscope. This is one of the activities which is there, OLAPs mathematics. So here you can see that I had mentioned that even we have maths and English labs. So here you can see that here it is the maths workbench where the student can actually verify quadrilateral formed by midpoints of quadrilateral. So, is a parallelogram, that is actually the lab. So the student can take quadrilateral of their choice and then can perform the operations, and then at the end of this lab, the student actually verifies this particular theorem. Okay, so here also you can see there is a ruler which is there. The student can draw the quadrilateral, cut triangles, measure, and so on. This is a snapshot of Labs English. Again, it is an interesting concept. Do try it out as per your interest, or you can recommend it to English teachers or of your school. Where this is a tense conversion activity. The student is given a question, and the question activity now what is remedial action is provided. So do check it out, Olaps English, which is a novel concept, and all these sentences are generated by the system, and the feedback is also completely generated by the system for the students. Olaps is available in languages. Apart from English, we have 3 more languages in which Olaps is officially available. You might see on our website that there are other languages also in which Olaps is available. So that is, there are some NGOs who have actually volunteered to do the translation activities. If there are any of you who are interested to translate Olaps into a language in which Olaps is not available, you're most welcome. Our team will work with you. Happy to work with you. Olaps has been designed to be supported on handheld devices, though we do not recommend using it on mobile devices, because on mobiles, that is the mobiles that we use, because the screen is very small, size is small, so you may not be able to manipulate the Olaps visual elements appropriately there. But yes, a tablet, nowadays I think most of the students do have tablets or computers, so you can use it on a tablet, at least a 8-inch or 10-inch tablet. It will be very good if you can use Olaps on that. We are conducting regular Olaps training sessions. Thanks to NCERT, we had also conducted a session in April, and from CDAC, we are doing it almost every day. Nowadays, we are doing it once a week, once or twice a week. We are doing it. Even our partner, collaborative partner, Amrita Vishwavidyapeetham, they are also doing trainings. So what we do is we approach teachers and we publish a calendar. And through NCERT as well as CBSE, also we have done focused training programs. So we have trained around 48,000 teachers so far from 12,000 schools from state as well as CBSE. So this is just some kind of statistics to give you an idea about the popularity and the user base of Olaps. So this is just a quick look at or a peep at the Olaps chemistry activities. So in class 9th, these are the various activities: chemical reactions, melting point of ice, distinguishing between solutions. So at that time, whatever we had NCERT lab manual had when the labs were developed, so we have mapped based on this, but this is not hard and fast. Now maybe the labs may have shifted to different classes or other classes, but all these things are available on the Olaps website. These are class 10 labs, class 11 labs, and class 12 labs. So we'll just quickly we'll do the demonstration of this. Yeah. So what we will do is that we are now switching to the demonstration of Olaps, which will be given by my colleague, Ms. Suman.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am, for this wonderful presentation. And like you showed us that this is not just about chemistry, it's about the other subjects as well. There's physics, there's maths, there's English. We can have Olaps for various subjects. So let's move on to the demonstration, and like she already introduced, let me introduce once again. We have one more expert from CDAC, and she is Miss Suman Ninoria. Welcome, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am.
Okay, so shall we begin with the demonstration?
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
So I'm just sharing my screen. I'm starting with the Olaps portal. Directly we will go to the portal and we will see the demonstration of chemistry lab.
Okay. Before she moves further, I would like to introduce her. She is the project engineer at CDAC Mumbai, and CDAC, let me tell you again, it's Center for Development of Advanced Computing. So after Archana ma'am's explanation, let's move on to the demonstration to understand this whole concept better. Here we are. Ma'am.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. So, as Archana ma'am already told you about the Olaps, different idea about the Olaps, how a teacher, a student can use this Olaps in online and offline classes. So now I will be take you on the website of Olaps, that is olaps.edu.in. I hope this portal is visible to all of you.
Yes, ma'am, it is very
So
much
this
visible.
is homepage of Olaps where so we have different menu on this portal. So I will just important menu. I will tell you that this is the training calendar. So when we organize a training on Olaps, we will put here in the training calendar. So all the teacher who are interested to attend the training, they can attend the training on the scheduled date and time. After that, there is a registration form for the teachers, student, and the schools. If they want to register with the Olaps portal, they can register. And in the registration itself, there is a download offline option. So if you want to use the offline version of Olaps, as your school is having some internet constraint or maybe student is not having internet connection, they can use this offline version. So they can download this offline version from this portal itself. So here we have three downloader. That is one Marathi. So in Marathi, this is in Marathi language. All the content of Olaps you can get it in Marathi language. And after that, English Olaps and Hindi Olaps. So this is the offline installer. You can install it and you can use offline in your machine. And after that, there is a flag, language flag option is there. So from here, you can change the language of the portal. And after that, you can view all the content of lab in the selected languages. So basically, currently it is supported for English, Hindi, Malayalam and Marathi. So in four language, currently the Olaps is available. So now I will just show you the different experiment available in chemistry. So basically this session is especially for the chemistry. So we will demonstrate the experiment of the chemistry. So I will take one example from class 12. This is for class 12. You can see the list of experiment and activities available under class 12. And after that, class 11. It's for class 10 and for class 9. So you can see there are a lot of experiment and activities available for chemistry. So we will take one example. This is for test for functional group. This is very popular experiment in chemistry, and this is for class 12. So you can see here what different features that we have demonstrated in presentation. Like we have a complete framework for one experiment. So basically here you can get the theory related to that experiment. So a student can read the related theory of that experiment. Here you can see all the related concept, theory, principle related to that experiment mentioned here in the theory tab. After that, there is a procedure tab. In the procedure tab, we have mentioned the procedure to conduct that experiment in the real lab. So basically here all the steps are mentioned to perform the experiment in the real lab. As we are saying that we don't want to distract the student from the physical lab. This is only a supplement tool that they can use to do the experiment online. So physical lab procedure is also there, and after that the online methods are given how you can do the experiment in the simulation environment. So you can see here the procedure to do the experiment in the simulator is also mentioned here. So all the steps are written here. The student can refer these steps before going to the simulation. And after that, there is an animation. This animation is demonstration of an experiment in the physical lab. How the experiment is they can do in the physical lab. So this is basically the animation for that. I'm just playing this animation. So this is just I am giving the feel what kind of animation are available in Olaps. So these are the animation and this is particularly the animation for tests for the functional group. So with the each lab and experiment there are related animation associated with. So the student can refer that these animation before going to the physical lab. And after that there is a simulator. This is the actual simulation environment where a student is doing an experiment. So here you can see according to the experiment we have provided the apparatus and necessary equipment to do the experiment. And here in this functional group experiment there are two variations like we can test for the unsaturation group and functional group. And according to that again you can select the test based on the selected type. So these type of options are available in each and every experiment. And in all subject you can get same type of environment and same type of option based on the experiment or activity. So currently I am just selecting the functional group, and based on the functional group we can select what type of experiment we want to conduct. So here I am just selecting alcohol and what type of test. Again you can see there are different variation of tests available under this experiment, and all the variations are available in Olap simulation environment. So I have selected the ESTAR test. In this ESTAR test and in this environment, if you need any kind of help, there is a help button. You can press this help button. After that, this will help you to do the simulation. Like this is indicating me, drag the dropper to the test tube. So I am just dragging the dropper and using this solution in this sample test tube. Again, it is telling me to use the next solution in the sample solution. So I am doing that. So I am just following this help. Now there is a next button. I have to click on this next button for the next phase of this experiment. Now in this next phase again you can click on this help button. It will direct you to do the experiment. So now I have to drag this test tube in the beaker, and I need to just switch on the heater. So I have switched on the heater, and there is a timer. You can see according to the experiment all the things are available in the simulation environment. So already it is done. Now I am using this test tube in the cold water, and you can see this experiment is completed, and this is sodium hydroxide and it is giving a fruity smell. So here in the inferences you can see the result of this experiment. Like here result for this experiment is alcohol react with carboxylic acid in the presence of concentrated H2SO4 to form fruity smelling compound called ester. So basically this is one experiment where we are testing a functional group. So this is done and you have seen the inferences. So this is one experiment in the chemistry, and you have seen that all the related variations are available in the simulation environment. So this was the simulator, and after that we have a video also. So mostly with each and every activity there are video associated. So this video is also just telling you about the concept of that particular experiment. So I'm just playing for demonstration this video. So you can see there are videos available for these experiments, and for each test there are separate videos. So for each test in this functional group of experiment, they can refer these videos. So this is about the video tab available in the experiment, and then this Viva VOC section. As Ashna ma'am told you about this Viva VOC section, this is very useful for the assessment and for the self-assessment of the student for that particular experiment, for the knowledge of that particular experiment. So this is the Viva VOC section, and here in the online version, the student can attempt these questions and immediately can see the feedback for their this assessment. And after that, there is a resource tab. So in the resource tab, this additional link, additional resource material are mentioned here, so that a student, if they want to refer any additional resource material, they can refer from here. And after that, there is a feedback tab. Suppose any teacher want any changes in the content, they feel there is any wrong information or any wrong formula given in this particular content of this experiment, they can just fill this feedback form, and according to this feedback form, they can give their feedback on this experiment, and then our team will check this feedback and will update the experiment accordingly. So this is about one experiment in the chemistry. So I can show you other labs also, but the environment and the feel of all the simulator and the content are same. So if you can try by your own, you can do it. There is a help available in each simulator environment, and before going to the simulator, you can also refer the animation and the procedure part to complete the experiment. After that, again, if you feel any difficulty to do that experiment, you can contact us, you can write us. Again, there is in contact us, there are phone number given and email ID given, support email ID also given there. So if any teacher, student want to contact us, they can contact us on the mentioned numbers and ID. So this is about the demonstration of chemistry experiment. If any teacher want to explore any other subject, they can explore by their own. It is a very user-friendly website, and all the information and help are mentioned here. So this is all about Olaps.
All right. Ma'am, we have a question from one of our viewers, Reshma. So should I ask you? We have got last 5 minutes left.
Yes. Sure.
Okay, so ma'am, Reshma is asking, are there any disadvantages of Olaps? Ma'am, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Are there any disadvantages of Olaps?
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Now
Am I audible? Yeah. So this is Archana here. Thank you, ma'am, for your question. As of now, we haven't about any kind of disadvantages of the software itself. Of course, there are constraints that schools face of using Olaps because of their maybe internet connection or anything of that sort. And as I mentioned already, that Olaps is not there to supplement, just to replace a lab. So it has to be used along with a physical lab. So with that caution, you can use it. As of now, we don't have any kind of anything as such reported by schools, teachers, even NCERT or CBSE about Olaps.
Okay. Ma'am, we have got last 2 minutes left. So I'll ask you one last question. When Suman ma'am
Sure.
was demonstrating, she showed us the languages available. Downloading languages were English, Hindi and Marathi. Is there any other languages in which the whole website or the content is available?
No, ma'am. Currently, it is available in 4 languages, but the translation for other languages is going on. So the translation in other languages going on. Currently, it is going on in Telugu, and we are open for the translation of this language content. If any volunteer are there, so they can provide us the content, and we can inbuilt in the framework.
Okay. Okay, and ma'am, for if we talk about the classes 9th to 12th, physical experiments are also going on, or there's only Olabs available?
Physical experiment they can do in the classroom, ma'am. This online labs is available for the various subjects: physics, chemistry, biology, and there are activities in the mathematics also for class 9th and 10th. And we have also experiment with the English lab. So there are some activity in the English also. So the student and teacher can explore this activity, and if they feel that these activities are very good and we need to extend this activity, they can write this.
All right. Thank you so much, ma'am, to you and for Archana ma'am as well for your time, for everything, for the entire explanation. And we are here to wrap up this session. Thank you once again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you on behalf of Olaps.
Okay. Thank you to all the participants as well. There was one query about the links she showed, and Olaps, they're available. It's a proper website. You saw the demonstration. If you want to the links again, you can watch the entire session once again and go through the links. The email link is available, FB link is available, website is there. So various links are there, and if in case there are any queries, you can even leave your queries, questions in the comment box of this same session. Our experts would be more than happy to answer all of them either today or later on. Thank you so much, and stay happy, stay healthy. We are coming back for another session in some time, that is effective time management. So how to manage your time, we are going to discuss this matter in a short while. So stay with us, don't go anywhere. Take care. Namaste.